So aside from obviously delving into Japanese fiction and the Bible and fairy stories and children's stories, are there any other authors or books, any other countries you visited?
So I'm currently reading The Prophet and the Idiot by Jonas Jonasson. And
I love that.
Yeah, he's Swedish. But the book actually takes us through so many European countries on their travels, basically because I think the end of the world's coming and they're trying to put certain things to rights. So it's a whole class of comedy in itself, but takes you through parts of Sweden down into Italy and various other European countries on the way. So I think the great thing also about translated texts is you almost get to feel like you've traveled to those countries, even if you haven't, like mentioning like certain buildings and landmarks that are there. Even if you don't get to actually travel to those countries, you feel like you've been to them. Is there any ones that you'd recommend for me to read next?
There's one I'm reading at the moment, and it's a book that I'm revisiting that I read when it first came out about 20 years ago, called Shadow of the Wind, and it's Spanish. And it's set sort of just after Franco in Spain, so it's set in the past, and it's a mystery. It's all surrounding a mysterious book and a mysterious author and this one young man's quest to discover what happened to the author and what happened to all his other books. And when I first read it 20 years ago, I found it so compelling that it stayed with me. And it was always something that I talked about when people said, "Oh, have you got any books to recommend?" And so I decided I would revisit it. That's Shadow of the Wind. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce any names for risk of causing offence, but we'll put all the names in the description.
But I also think a great thing about the translated text is it still includes like historical or political like events and things that are thing, and you see it from like different perspectives sometimes. So like we can learn about things and know about things from living in our country, but to see what it's experienced for like other people or like from a different viewpoint. So I think the different viewpoints that come through in translated fiction is really
there's one book that really I think highlights that point, which is The Book Thief. Have you read The Book Thief?
I haven't read The Book Thief.
And that is set in Germany during the Second World War. And through fiction, obviously, fiction's always easier to digest for people than non-fiction books, I think. Non-fiction books can be quite dry and full of facts and figures and a lot of information, whereas when you're reading fiction that is set during a historical period, sometimes it can be easier, I think, to access and for people to understand and also get a feel of perhaps
the empathy that comes with it.
So that would be my recommendation. There you go, you got two: Shadow of the Wind, which is Spain, and The Book Thief, which is Germany. So we're traveling across the globe.
Funny you should say that, Amy. So we've recently started in the library a great idea that's come from Brixham Library, which is called Around the World in 80 Days. And it's an adult reading challenge that starts today, Saturday, the 13th of June, but it goes on until the 31st of August, 80 days. And basically, any adults can come in to any of the Torbay Libraries to sign up. And any book that you read that travels to another country, you can write that country down on the little sign-up passport that you get, and just see how many countries you can travel to in those 80 days through literature, through the books that you read. And everyone that enters, when you return your passport at the end, will get entered into a prize draw to win a lovely international food hamper, which sounds very exciting.
But you also get a treat when you join. What is the treat that you get when you join the challenge?
the treat you get a free book reservation as well. So
free book reservation. I mean,
yes,
that's worth it. That's totally worth it.
Saving of £1 to get a free book reservation. But yeah, pick your books well. This one travels through many countries in itself. No, but yeah.
Does that mean you can get repeated stamps for that one book, or would we say the book of origin?
I think it's whatever country. I think it's the countries you write down. But it doesn't matter if you just visit a couple of countries in those 80 days. That's absolutely fine. If you visit 20 or 30 countries in those, it doesn't matter how many countries you visit. It's just about the enjoyment of reading and kind of traveling through the world.
If you're reading a book that is local or set in this country, you can start in the UK. That's an easy one.
Be interesting to see the furthest point from the UK that people get to through their books, and the most commonly visited country, maybe.
I wonder as well, has anybody yet written a book whilst they have been in space?
Oh, now there's a question.
I know. I just wondered, a book from every nation across the globe, every continent. Yeah. But I wonder if
there we go. If you're an astronaut out there, that's your next challenge. Write a book.
Write a book in space. Or if someone has and you know about it, please let us know. I'd be fascinated.
I'm sure there's definitely books about their journeys into space, but whether they actually wrote it while they were up there is another.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Oh, well, thank you very much for joining me, Sarah.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. And I hope
you're going to go and reserve the book thief.
I hope you found that really interesting. We'll list all the titles and authors that we've mentioned, and maybe a few more for you to explore.
If you've got any details, good translated texts of fiction books that you've enjoyed, you can write them in the comments.
Yeah, write them in the comments. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.